So looking at the defense, Nathan, we'll start up front with what expects to be a top defensive front. Phil Steele's got him at number 6. There's a couple studs up there that should factor heavily in next year's NFL draft. So defensive line looks sharp.
Yeah, I think going into the season, this is the clear top unit from a previous production standpoint and what we're expecting this year. Isaiah Foskey is, one of the best defensive ends in the country. You have the Adam Alola twins back and Jason and Justin, who, Jason is one of the better interior guys in the country. And then Justin is a really just solid, kind of rotation piece on the defensive line. Riley Mills is a guy I'm really high on who should factor in at 3 tech and on the strong side defensive end. A couple good freshmen. I'm not sure 100% if they're going to be, guys that factor in this year, but Aiden Gobaira was my favorite kid coming in the 2022 class. I think he needs to put a little weight on before he's a guy that they, really count on. But yeah, they're very deep in both interior and on the edge. And when I say deep, I don't mean just with bodies. They have some talent. Brought in another kid. They had an injury to one of their better depth pieces who, he's not going to be out for the entire year, but probably, or he could be out for the year. I shouldn't say that. There's a possibility he's out for the year, but hopefully back towards the middle to end of the season. And they brought in another depth piece on the defensive line that I think will help. And yeah, no, it's filled with depth. It's filled with talent, top tier talent, and then even some of the other guys that are maybe not on that top tier. They're just really solid college football players. So that should be a unit that, unless injuries just strike them like crazy, it should be top tier the entire season.
Same thing with the linebackers. Steele has them at number 10 in the country.
Yeah, the thing with linebacker, there might be the top tier talent might not be there. You return guys like, JD Bertrand, and you get Maris Leofau back, who I think actually could be in that top tier talent, but he missed all of last season after expected to be, a big name for them. Jack Kaiser's back. You have Bo Bauer back. So there might not be that quote unquote first round or maybe even second round talent. Maybe Leofau can get to there, but just really steady college football players. And then you have a few young guys. They brought in a really, really nice freshman class. Maybe a few of those guys can get in the mix. You have Prince Colley, who was the Buckus Award winner 2 seasons ago in high school football, who hasn't, as a freshman, didn't really leave too much of a mark, but he's a kid that could mix in well. So again, a lot of depth, certainly, and we'll see if they have the top tier talent that maybe the Isaiah Foskeys of the world bring on the defensive line. But I don't think there's anything too much to worry about there.
Cam Hart, for the time that I watched Notre Dame play, which is 5 to 8 games a year, something in that range, is a guy that it didn't take long to determine before I knew what his reputation was supposed to be, that this guy can play. So he comes back. He could have gone to the NFL. So there's a big plus in the secondary, for a secondary that Phil Steele has in the top 5 in the country at number 5. And, of course, Brandon Joseph in from Northwestern for his second go-around. No, first go-around. Yes.
Yeah, so, obviously you lose Kyle Hamilton. Big deal there. One of the best players in the country last year until his injury. But, I think at least at the college football level, replacing him with Brandon Joseph, you hopefully don't see too much of a downfall there, at least at the safety position. So Brandon Joseph is there. I think you have a few guys that kind of took steps last year. Ramon Henderson, Xavier Watts, who moved over from wide receiver to the secondary last year. You have a couple guys that have been in the program forever, and Houston Griffith and DJ Brown. So a lot of depth at safety. Maybe, like, again, it's probably a tier down from even the linebackers from an overall NFL, standing talent wise. But guys like Ramon Henderson and Xavier Watts might be able to play into that. And then the biggest thing I think is corner. Obviously Cam Hart, who's been a little banged up in camp, or in the spring, I should say. You hope that hope that he can stay healthy all year and put another really solid season of film on there. Cause I agree with you completely. I think he's a guy that can really produce in the NFL from a talent standpoint. Clarence Lewis has had some rough times at times, I should say. And, but I think that there's certainly some talent there. He started as a freshman or played a decent amount as a freshman, which I think says a lot about his character and just his development as a player and maturity as a player. But last year he had some rough games. So you hope that he can kind of get things going. And, they have some other talented redshirt freshmen that, might be able to play a role. You're looking at a Jaden Mickey who can play in the slot. I think they're very, very excited about him. Tariq Bracey, who's been in the program for a while. They're excited about him in the slot as well. And then you have guys like Ryan Barnes and Philip Riley who can hopefully take that next step as younger guys who have been in the program for now, almost 2 years. You hope that they can maybe take a leap for you and at least give you some quality depth there.